as you're getting more time to prep with the team, what's the general mood moving into this game?
Well, I think we were a little disappointed with our performance last week, and I think that's good motivation going into this week because we feel like we can play better than what we showed. And I think any time that you're disappointed with a tie to the first place team, that's a good place to be.
Last week you had mentioned that today was the expected day for Alex Morgan to get back in the market. Is she coming in today, and just kind of how's that looking?
Yeah, I believe she's going to be here tomorrow to do some physical therapy, and we will actually see her in training. Well, not in training, but here on Friday.
And have you been able to get any updates on the status of her injury?
Yeah, I think that until she goes to the physical therapist, that's probably outside of my pay grade.
You mentioned last weekend's result, and when we spoke with Amy and some of the defenders, they mentioned that they were really comfortable in that three-back that you've been using.
Mm-hmm.
How do you plan on using that? You kind of used it some games and not others. Do you think that that's going to be kind of the permanent hold for the defense, or is it just something you move in and out of?
I think this team has enough tactical awareness to understand the need to do some things tactically differently when we see what a team is presenting us. And I think that's just like another tool in our tool belt, and it's something we can use, but maybe won't use all the time.
Marta mentioned that she really likes that your style means that you kind of have the ball on your feet more, and that's really kind of in her wheelhouse. How have you been trying to utilize her within that system?
Well, I mean, clearly, you don't get more of a better person with the ball at her feet than Marta. So for us to have her, we're just really lucky. And I think, we can see more and more of that. The issue with that, I think, is it takes a little while to develop those connections if you haven't been playing that way. And so right now, we're just trying to get used to each other and how we want the ball, where we want the ball, and how we can play off of each other.
How much of a struggle has it been just over the last 4 games now coming up? 3 of them have been on the road.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's just the nature of the schedule. That's out of our control, so we haven't really been trying to worry about that too much. But, at the same time, it was great to play at home just because of the fans, and we want to play at home because of the fans, but at the same time, we're not going to be disappointed to not play at home.
You had mentioned in the first couple of weeks that, the substitution rules were one of the bigger learning curves for yourself. How do you feel that you've been, kind of figuring that out as you get deeper into your tenure here?
I think I probably, looking back at the last game, could have managed that a little bit better from a changing perspective with the substitutions. But I think that'll be a learning curve for me too. But the great thing is this team is making it really difficult for me because we have such talent and we have depth. And so finding ways to be able to get all that depth in use has been a challenge. And I think that's something that's a good problem to have.
Something that you've spoken a lot and your players have spoken a lot as well has been kind of the positivity focus of your mentality. When did that first form for you? Has that always been kind of your approach as a coach, or was there a time when you kind of started first building that as a coach?
I really think, so a little history on that. My mom spent most of her adult life in a wheelchair, and she had MS and several other issues going on medically. And so I think from a pretty young age, I always had a strong appreciation and positivity. And I think one of the things my mom would always say is, there's always someone worse off than me. And that just has always stuck with me. And I think that, there's so many things that you can look at that you don't have, but there's so many things that you can look at that you do have. And I just choose to focus on the latter.
How does that kind of play out in terms of just application in a game, in training? If a player does something wrong or is doing something right, how does that kind of factor into the way that you're, day-to-day?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's making sure that we recognize and appreciate the things that are going well and not just assume that it's going to happen or have it happen and don't appreciate it. But also, when something doesn't go our way, being able to move through that quickly.
Kanya Plummer went out on loan yesterday. How did that specific pairing with sending her to a Swedish league, how did that kind of shake out? Was that a selection that she wanted to go to, or was it more of the team trying to set her up in a spot?
Yeah, I think Kanya wanted to get some more playing time. And, center back is one of the positions that we don't sub as often. And so for her to be able to go somewhere and get that playing time, I think benefits all of us. I'm excited for her.
College soccer season starting up.
Yeah.
First time with UF not being on the sidelines. First off, how do you think they're going to do, and what's that going to be like watching from afar?
It is going to be different watching from afar because, it's been, 32 years if you count my stint at Barry as well. I just want to give a big shout out to all the college coaches who are starting this week. It's really exciting time in college soccer. There's so much parity, there's so much talent, and I'm excited to watch some great games and look for future Pride players.
Just looking ahead to Washington, can you talk a bit about that matchup? Not only what you expect to see from them, but what you want to see from the team on the field?
Yeah, Washington is going to be back at full strength. They've got some great players returning, and that's exciting because I think for us to bring out our full potential, we need to play against the best. So I'm excited about seeing some of those players back, and I think for us, we want to be better than we were last week. So if we can continue to improve upon our performance, we're going to be happy with that.
Becky, we've seen a lot of trades around the league kind of in the last few weeks, and some more brewing in the future with just reports. When Mark was here before, he had said that the Pride was kind of done with trades this year. Do you have any kind of that you're looking at, or any action that you're kind of just getting interested in, or is the team just kind of focused on who you have right now?
I think for me personally, I'm focusing on who we have right here. We have people in our front office that are always monitoring those situations, and I think if there was something that was advantageous to us, then they would be on top of that, and we would have discussions about it.
Is that but you said that you're just kind of focused on yourself,
right?
Not something you're...
Yeah, I've got my own learning curve to do, so I think I better focus on that first.